Stop it.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another module of Agency Navigator. I am sipping on my loose leaf detox tea, feeling real good and feeling excited to go over what I believe is a very important module, because really everything else when it comes to advertising, you can do everything else right, but if you don't do this one thing right, or if you don't have this dialed in, everything else is just kind of superfluous, okay? Everything else just doesn't really matter, because you can mask as many fancy advertising techniques as you want, but if you look under the hood and these things aren't in place, then, as I said, really none of it matters. So on that note, let's get into it. Now, in today's teaching, we are going to go over what is a funnel, what is an offer, funnels for local businesses, funnels for e-commerce and education companies, how important is the offer, how to come up with offers, and read the market. So, first things first, what is a funnel? Now, a funnel can better be understood as a customer journey. Okay, the funnel describes the steps a customer has to go through in order to convert. Now, conversion means that a user made the action that you wanted them to. Now, usually this means a purchase, but it can also mean, for example, booking a call or, submitting their information, etc., etc. Now, a funnel is intentionally meant to lose people on each step of it, but it is also meant to increase the conversion rates. So in a funnel, the further down a customer goes, the more qualified and interested they are. Now, you might be wondering, why us as marketers, instead of losing each people on each step, just send people to the last step of the funnel, for example. Now, although the answer may seem obvious, it's always nice to come back to principles, evaluate, and question them. Now, to kind of put this into perspective, we actually recently removed one of the early steps of one of our funnels, and this actually turned out better. And the results turned out substantially better. So I guess the reason I say this is never stop questioning and always try new things. But back to our question of, why don't we just send people to the last step of the funnel rather than everything before? Well, the reason we have a multi-step process is that each step requires different levels of commitment, and you're slowly asking for more commitment each step of it, okay? And what you're doing here is you're indoctrinating the prospect and leading them further down closer to the purchase or the action you want them to make. Now, you shouldn't be asking for all of the commitment right up front, okay? Think about it with, for example, your journey to buy Agency Navigator. You had to trust me first, okay? There were steps that you had to go through. So each offer has different levels of commitments, and this is key to understand. The funnel should be designed based on your offer, and you should not be designing the offer based on the funnel. Now, an offer is essentially the way you provide value to the customer, and because it has value to the customer, it means they will be willing to give something in exchange for it, okay? And let's look at a couple examples right here. Let's take a very simple example. You want to buy a t-shirt. Now, there are tons of different offers in the market for t-shirts, and each company will have a different value proposition to get you to buy the t-shirt. There's cheap ones, there's expensive ones. Now, what makes some people buy the expensive ones over the cheap ones? At the end of the day, we all need a t-shirt. Each t-shirt provides different value to different people, and not everyone wants a t-shirt with a Metallica print on it, but if you happen to be a fan of it, all of a sudden it has much more value, and you'll even be willing to pay substantially more than you would for just a regular t-shirt. Moving on, now that we've established offers provide value to people and that it is different for each individual, let's think about commitment. Now, this is a value exchange. You give people something they want, and they give you something you want. Now, you are asking for money in exchange for a product. Okay, money has value, the product has value, so you can make the exchange. If you're asking for someone's email, this is a form of value. For someone's time for a call, it's the same thing. These are all forms of value. Now, giving away your email is way easier than giving away your time, for example, for a discovery call or a chat or a demo call, whatever it may be, okay? In the same way that asking for $5,000 is different than asking for $5. You start to see that there is more or less friction depending on what you are trying to get from prospects. Now, this is what is known as commitment. Okay, how much does a prospect have to commit to acquire the offer? Now, some offers like a guide in exchange for an email only need so much convincing and is low commitment on the customer's end, right? Whereas let's say a $5,000 a month SMMA service, on the other hand, needs a little bit more convincing to do, a better funnel, and definitely more than a couple sentences to get over the line. Now, there are many offers out there, And as such, there are even more funnels for those offers. And I'm going to present some of the most well-known ones and the ones that have been proven to work the best for both local businesses and then for e-commerce and online information companies. Now, let's talk about funnels for local businesses. I will be going over this in detail in its own section of Phase 6 under 8 funnels for lead gen and how to set them up. So this is really just a short overview so you understand the concept. Remember, this is just the fundamentals module, and I will be going in even more detail later down the line. Now let's look at on Facebook lead gen ads. Now, for me, these are the most effective type of ads you can run for now. It is a short one-step funnel used to gather information about a prospect. Now, many offers apply to this kind of funnel and the commitment level isn't high, although that does depend on the information you're asking. Usually it's name, email, and phone number. Now, let's kind of put this into, a tangible real life example. Let's say with a gym, okay? You can get their details in exchange for a free 3-day trial. Or for example, with a beauty salon in exchange for a free manicure. The world is yours to think and work offers out with your clients because usually it's the creative ones that win. With that being said, don't worry about it too much as we will be giving you everything that already works inside of the local business phase. Next, we have the free guide funnel because a lot of time conversion rates or quality can be even better when you put in place a little more complex funnels like a free guide funnel. Basically, you're exchanging a free guide that your customer will find valuable in exchange for email or phone number, etc., etc. So let's keep it going with this gym and a beauty salon example. Let's say for a gym, you can have a guide on how to lose weight or prepare low-calorie meals, or for the salon, you can have a guide on how to maintain your healthy hair. Okay. That way you can actually collect leads. Next, we have the messenger funnel. Now, adding to your offer the option of sending a message will make it even easier for the conversation, right? This is less friction. You can prompt people to send you a message on Messenger and then follow up with them about the offer and how they can claim it or use it. Slight little caveat to this is that your client needs to have a solid sales process and follow up with leads on time. Next up, we have the WhatsApp funnel. Now, Facebook actually bought WhatsApp, and similarly to the Messenger ads, you can send people to WhatsApp, okay, and you can actually use that as a funnel. Now, whichever one works better for you will depend basically on your country or your market, and their same caveats apply of like, hey, you actually need someone there following up with all of these new leads. Next, we have walk-in coupons. Now, you can create coupon offers that people can redeem at the place. Now, although this is less popular, it does still work in many ways, okay? Your offer needs to be strong enough to not need any nurturing of the lead or human contact. Next up, we have free valuations. Now, your customer gets a free valuation of what they're selling or what your client will be buying. So for example, in this case, think jewelry, real estate, cars, etc., etc. Next, we have instant valuations. Now, via a quiz or set of questions, you can actually have different flows that give different valuations. Then you collect the data and ask for emails or phone numbers to help the person sell that good. So once again, bear in mind with this, the client will need to have the infrastructure to give a sort of rough estimation of what something will be worth. And then from there, they provide their phone number and someone reaches out to them as an example. Now, next up, we have funnels for e-commerce and education companies. Now, online funnels for e-commerce and education companies are pretty much almost infinite. There's so many different funnels to get reduced to a number of outcomes. But in the end, you want to sell something, whether that be information or a product. Now, we'll be going over the main 11 ones, but as I said, there are many, many more, and there are new ones that appear every single day. And as I said, this is a 4-section module within a phase within an 8-phase program, right? So there's 49 service delivery modules here. I'll be going into even more detail on this later down the line. So the first one is the webinar funnel. Now, this is a little bit old and rusty for most niches. The webinar funnel consists of an opt-in page where people put their info and choose a time to watch a webinar. Now, it can be live or not live. Then they see the video, and this can be anywhere from 30 minutes up to even 3 hours long. Then they get to a sales page where the product can be bought through a checkout page. Like most funnels, it then ends with a thank you page. Now, one thing to bear in mind with this, if you are working with education companies, right, which we do a lot of at my agency, if you're working with education companies, and let's say you're working with an education company that helps people with e-commerce or marketing or whatever, within that, like email marketing or sales, stuff, or for example, trading, stock trading, Forex trading, crypto stuff, like those industries are very, very jaded when it comes to webinars and even VSLs and sort of like your standard sort of funnels. All right. So you have to be very, very creative. I know with us, even on cold, if we have a client that sells an e-commerce course, in the English speaking market, we're not going to be able to work it. We're not going to be able to make it work if it's low ticket, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 because, or let's say, $500 to $2,000, basically if it's automated webinar, because the market is just too jaded, right? And you'll find that one funnel that works in one market doesn't work in the other, right? And when I say a market, I mean like, in France, this could, a webinar funnel for an e-commerce education company can work. Whereas in England and the US, it doesn't work because it's just been so saturated, right? So it all depends, with all these funnels, this is why you need to have an understanding of both your niche, okay, so the actual niche, and then the market, okay? So by market, I mean like where in the world, what demographic are they serving, okay? And the same thing with like, for example, let's say if you're targeting people who are if you're the client that you're working with targets people who are 35 and over, they may be less, inundated with some of these funnels than people who are 35 and younger. Okay, so just all these things are things that you really need to bear in mind. Next up, we have VSL. Now, similar to a webinar funnel, you have a main video that will do most of the convincing. Now, in this case, it's usually a less salesy and a less pressure way of selling, and it's used usually for a more mature and educated audience. In this case, there is no countdowns or sort of regressive email sequences. The video has speed controls and is more actionable rather than emotional. Now, after the video, traffic will be redirected to the sales page as well. Or you can also redirect people to book a call. And I'll actually be talking about that right now. VSL to call. Anything above $2,000, as most of, for example, your service fees will be, needs a human contact to build the trust needed for that type of sale. Okay, so this is our chosen funnel for our own agency ads. We have a video sales letter that directs people to book a call, a 15-minute demo call with Danny, and we wouldn't be able to close any clients with an automated funnel for our agency. Okay, these are our steps: registration page, VSL, calendar, thank you page. Okay, that's that's basically the structure for our personal agency VSL. Bear in mind, by the time that you watch this, our VSL would have been redesigned entirely, probably. But either way, you can always just, but nonetheless, you can always just go to my agency website and inevitably you'll find it somewhere there. And the reason that I said it will probably be radically different is because we have found that it is actually worth it to remove the landing page, because emails just for us personally are not, as valuable as they used to be. So for us personally, we've actually removed emails or we've removed the landing page, and that's actually increased performance by a lot with our clients, as well as a great agency. So we're implementing that soon at the agency soon, redesigning the funnel, new updated case studies, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's why I kind of say, go against common convention, try a couple of these things out. And this is something that will come over time. You'll start to realize the reason that if you go to a different market or a different industry and you tell them you're not collecting emails or not collecting leads, they would think that it's insanity. But in my personal market, because our clients at the agency, e-commerce and education companies, they're so jaded, they're so inundated with ads that it's just like, it's a breath of fresh air if they can just go straight to a page without having to opt in their email or any of that crap. Now we have a quiz funnel. Now you are either collecting leads, you're either going to send people to a sales page, or you will either want to send people to a webinar or VSL, but you're going to ask the prospect questions in a quiz that is fun and has images. And basically this is used to build a commitment. So basically this can kind of like, you can use the quiz as a way to figure out the best direction to send them in. Okay. Now be wise on the questions you choose. You don't want to be too invasive at the very beginning where, there's barely any report that's been built. Okay. People like quizzes, just look at BuzzFeed. I mean, just to kind of prove this, if finding my age through donuts works, and that's a quiz that actually works, there's tons of other ideas that works when it comes to quizzes. Now, next up, let's talk about the Tripwire. Now, Tripwire offer is a low ticket offer that is meant to attract your ideal customer, and it usually connects with higher ticket upsells, downsells, and or cross sells. Now, this Tripwire offers are usually deliverables like guides, ebooks, templates, sheets, etc., etc. So basically what you're doing here is you're offering the market something at a very cheap price, $7, $17, $37, sort of within that range, right? And what you're doing right here is you're having very low barrier to entry for a product that should be like, if it's $7, it really should actually be worth $50 or $100. If it's $37, it really should be worth $200, $300. And you're getting a big lead or you're getting a big directory of buyers, because there's a big difference between a lead, like the fall off between someone who is a lead and someone who's an actual buyer, someone like even $1, even someone who will be willing to pull out their credit card and just spend $1, there is a big bleed through between that. So basically what this Tripwire allows you to do is it allows you to get a directory of leads who are actual buyers. Okay. And then from there, as I said, there can be a back-end sales process to upsell them. Some of the biggest internet marketing companies, right? And some of the biggest internet marketers, guys like Tony Robbins, for example, that's what they do. They sell you a $7 thing, and then it upsells, and then just a constant upsell. And then by the end, you're spending $100,000 on a yearly mastermind, and you're like, how the hell did I get here, right? So really, that is what a Tripwire funnel is. And kind of a sister or a brother to a Tripwire funnel is actually a book funnel. Okay, similar to the Tripwire offer, the book funnel is meant to pay for the lead. Okay, so you're giving a book at a cheap price or for a free plus shipping, and there's upsells and downsells from there. Next type of funnel is a sales letter. Okay, now sales letter is pretty simple to understand. Long form. I mean, a sales letter, sometimes when you're looking at long form sales letters, it just keeps scrolling. And this is really where, I don't recommend long form sales letters unless unless the product is less than $150. Anything over $150, you're going to need a different type of funnel. But if the product is, let's say it's $30, $70, $100, then you can actually sell it just through a very long sales letter. Okay, so that is what's known as a long form sales page. And there's certain internet marketers out there that are literally paid 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100K to write these long form sales letters. When I say marketers out there, I mean people like agencies, right? Like people like service providers like us, because it is worth so much to some businesses. Next, we have the product launch funnel. Okay, now this is like a multi-step video series. So you've got video 1, and this is, by the way, a high level structure. You can do many different forms of this. Wow plus how. Transformational education in the video 2, video 3, ownership experience, and then video 4, offer, right? So it's basically just like a sequence of videos that attempts to get people to purchase. Now, you might be wondering, how important is the offer? Well, quite simply, and I told you this at the beginning of the module, no matter how good your creative, how good your funnel is, if people don't want your offer, it won't work. And that's why I decided to make a whole module, basically all about offer creation, okay? Because offer is king. And I see this, mistake in students over and over again. The product, service, or offer you're selling needs product market fit for anything else to work. Okay, that really is the precipice of everything. That is the nucleus of everything, and nothing else will work unless that is in place. Okay, as I said, if your offer is good and your marketing is bad, it won't sell either. Okay, so you need the two. Okay, you can't just have a good offer and terrible marketing and just think people will come to you. Okay, now I will say, if you gave me the option of having a good offer and bad marketing, I would take that over bad offer and good marketing. But no matter how good your marketing is, as I said, a bad offer cannot be sold. Now, you might be wondering how to come up with offers and read the marketing. Well, at the end of the day, there is no one better than you, because you live and breathe your niche, okay? Even better than your own client, because you have the experience of multiple businesses on that niche, right? You should be and granted, some of you guys in here may be just still looking for your first client, but once you have a few clients under your belt, you have such a unique position of dealing with multiple businesses in the niche. So you know what offers stick and what offers don't, what the market resonates with and what it doesn't, etc., okay? So coming up with offers to get people through the door or buy online is a complicated matter, but don't worry, I have, really distilled it down to science, and there's a lot of focus on it. Okay. Now, when it comes to e-commerce businesses and info product businesses, this is kind of left to the client, because they've already made the offer. Although you can sort of kind of help them fine tune the messaging of the offer. But as I said, they kind of come in with a product that they've already made. Okay. If you come up with an offer product, at that point, you're actually not really a marketing agency. You're an info product business or e-commerce store practically, because you're doing the marketing and coming up with the offers and stuff like that. But when it comes to local businesses, the story is kind of different. You are ultimately selling the gym, the hair salon, etc., but the offer is easily interchangeable. Okay. You don't want to give away a manicure? Well, give away haircuts instead. Do a contest to see what fits best. I'm going to be going over in depth on all these offers later on in phase 6. When it comes to local businesses, all their offers technically are kind of the same. It's just, what is the messaging behind the offer? Okay, so there's a lot more ways to sort of manipulate the offer when it comes to local businesses. So ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for today's module. Your action step for today is a very, very simple one. All I want you to do is go inside of the community and just give a warm welcome to a new member. That's about it. Catch you guys in the next one.